Howdy gang, it's Chris Angel coming at you for another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us, and tonight we're talking about leadership. Again, I feel like this might be like a leadership series that we're doing here. Now I talked about it yesterday, leadership in one form or another, and we're going to talk about it again tonight. It's interesting that in this tribe, many of us are soft-spoken, many of us are sensitive souls. And in the process of, and I think a lot of us are unpretentious, maybe is a way to say that. So what happens is we have some old stories about what leadership is or isn't. And we've brought those old stories into our current life circumstance. And we've then said, well, if that's what leadership is, I'm not that, so I'm not a leader. Now, this is important to distinguish because if you seek to create change in the world, if you're trying to help people cross over from where they're stuck to where they want to go, in whatever line of work that you're in, you, friend, are a leader. You are leading people. But do you see how if you're bringing old stories of what you think leadership is and you're saying you're not that, that's actually stopping, right? That's stopping you from leading more effectively. So what happens when you say you're not a leader, and yet you're still trying to serve others to their freedom? You're trying to guide or lead other people to where they want to go. What happens is you tend to be more soft-spoken. You tend to second-guess yourself more. You're like, well, I have these abilities. I have these perspectives to help those that want help, but I'm not a leader, so who am I to assert my perspective? And this is what I'm talking about. This is the thing that limits your influence and your impact in the world. It would be better to just embrace and own that you are a leader. Okay, so here's where the breakdown may happen, right? The place where you might have a hard time reconciling that you're a leader is that you have still attached the old paradigm or story of what you think leadership is. So let's agree that leadership does not look one way. Can we agree on that? Leadership does not look one way. So, you can look all across the world and see different people leading in different ways. So this is where I want you to start to consider that you have your own style of leadership. But if you're here in this life to do work where you help people get from where they're stuck to where they want to go, then you, friend, are a leader. Okay, that being said, with that as the backdrop, can you start to own that you are a leader? Okay, if you can own that you're a leader, now let's move the conversation into marketing, right? Because marketing is ultimately where you begin to communicate the change you see for the world. You see something. Life has taught you something and you see something, and marketing is where you share what you've seen. That's it. That's all. Marketing is where you share as a leader what you've seen. You have seen where people are stuck, by the way. So guess what you get to include in your marketing? You get to share in your marketing where you've seen people get stuck. You also get to share what you've seen about what's possible. Like as you look out into the world, you look in your own life, you have a vision for something different than what is. And so as a leader, you also can share through your marketing what you've seen. Okay? So we've got sharing what you've seen about where people are stuck. We've got sharing what you've seen about what's possible for people or your vision for humanity. Okay? And then you also have seen the paradigm shifts that would need to happen in order for the world or individuals to make that change. You know the saying, what got us here won't get us there, right? So for you to lead or to invite change, you would actually have to help people start to think differently about their circumstance. Much like I'm trying to help you think differently about leadership right now in this video, right? In this episode, we're talking about leadership because some of you have a different paradigm of what a leader is. And what I'm sharing with you in this episode is how to think differently, how to have a different paradigm about what leadership is. So, you can see already that there are a lot of places now that if you can embrace the identity as leader, you can begin to share from a place of things you've seen, rather than always second guessing yourself and saying, who am I to say? Who am I to share? I'm not a leader. I'm a whatever. Fill in the blank, right? I'm just a fill in the blank. And this is how you undermine your credibility and your conviction. But if friend, you could embrace that you were a leader, and you're not here to lead everybody, and you don't have to lead any way you don't want to lead. You don't have to be some other style of leadership other than yourself. If you can have all of that, then what you can start to do is step into the power that comes from you owning the identity of a leader. If you were to think of your services, the things that you do, if you were to think of yourself as the guide who's leading people up the mountain, people have hired you to lead them up the mountain. You're responsible for this climb. You're responsible for people's safety. Would you not have a different tone in the way that you talk to people, in the way that you give instructions, in the way that you protect the environment in which we're going to climb? I think you would. But if people gave you money and they said, well, hey, listen, will you take me up the mountain? And yet you didn't think you were the leader, how you would act, how you would be about that leader, about that climb up the mountain would be much less structured. There would be much less conviction in how you're leading. And so this is why this undermines your ability to lead people through your marketing, is because if you don't think you're a leader, then it shows up in your marketing because you don't have the same conviction you would have as if you were to own the identity of leader. I am owning this conversation of marketing for the rest of us. This thing that we're doing in this show, I'm owning this. So I have all sorts of conviction behind what I'm saying and why I'm saying it. This is my conversation. You are inside of my conversation, right? Because I'm here to provide safe passage for you. And you are here to provide safe passage for others up whatever mountain they're trying to climb that you have experience with. So in your marketing, it's imperative that you begin to embrace the identity of leader and own that you can do leader however you want to do leader. But you have to own the identity of leader because it shows up in how you communicate to people looking for answers. Okay? All right, gang. So if you'd like help tapping into the leadership that you have already inside of you, if you would like help leading the conversation that you're here to lead in the world, I built a program for that, right? It's called the Groundswell Method Intensive. It's 6 weeks with me, group coaching, 12 hours of training, plus 2 one-on-one coaching sessions with me over those 6 weeks. And it all starts at groundswellmethod.com. The link is in the text of this post, and you're going to watch, if you go to groundswellmethod.com, you're going to watch the free videos. And on the last page of the free videos, there's an application button. Fill that out. It comes to me, and we'll go from there. Thanks for hanging out with me in this episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. Until tomorrow, when we go live again, here's to you leading your conversation.